CTV, the Women's March has come to Fort Collins and the annual Tour de Corgi is back.
And stick around for sports for analysis on the MLB Wildcard and see what events are coming up for the fall season.
All that and more on CTV starting now. Good evening, Rams. I'm Robbie Patla.
And I'm Natalie Devereaux. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Sadly, we have some unfortunate news to start off with tonight, Rams. Lanes heading south of Interstate 25 finally reopened after a deadly car crash occurred on Friday evening, killing 2 people, including a child. The crash happened at Buckeye Road, north of Wellington and 10 miles south of the Wyoming border. 5 residents were in the car at the time, including 3 children. A 21-year-old woman and a 4-year-old boy were both ejected from the car on impact and died at the scene, while a 22-year-old man, another 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old all sustained serious injuries. Colorado State Patrol took around 4 hours to clear the road.
The Fort Collins Rescue Mission is a Denver-based organization that provides shelter to men in the community experiencing homelessness. But after having 21 residents test positive for COVID-19, the mission itself needs aid. As fall comes and temperatures begin to drop, the number of people seeking cover at the mission skyrockets. For many men, this is the only option they have to eat a meal and get out of the cold. But with the recent influx of COVID cases, the mission had to turn patrons away, as its dorms were used to isolate the positive cases. The situation became so dire, the Larimer County Department of Health and Environment stepped in. They joined forces with the CDC to fund hotel rooms to quarantine those with the virus. With this extra help, the rescue mission can now continue to focus on its main goal, offering a safe and warm place to those in the community that need support.
There are many beautiful sights to see on the CSU campus. However, some recent inappropriate behavior in the academic buildings and residence halls has threatened this reputation. The TikTok trend known as Devious Licks reached the CSU campus. Over the last few weeks, vandalism and misuse of university property has occurred. Whether it's small works of graffiti or tearing up residence hall lobbies, students are forced to witness the aftermath of these misconducts.
I've seen a little bit in my residence hall. I've heard about people stealing like the hand sanitizing dispensers. Outside at the bike racks, I see it a lot. People just like missing tires, or just the tire is the only thing that's left.
For RAs of these halls, reporting these issues is a long process, even for smaller incidents of vandalism such as Title IX issues, which deal with sexually explicit drawings or curse words on the walls.
Like if it's Title IX, like, genitalia, like curse words, stuff like that, then we do a Title IX report, and then we also have to fill out an incident report as to what happened, just so like our leadership knows and like student case management knows. After it gets reported, environmental staff is the one to clean it up, unfortunately.
As fall term reaches its halfway mark, RAs urge students to take better care of their environments.
It's like a lot of work, a lot of unnecessary work, just for like a really terrible joke, honestly. ES staff, like, they already do so much for us, and then you have, like, on top of that, you make them like clean up explicit drawings or like really dumb drawings. And then, yeah, just behave. That's all I have to say. Just act like an adult. So.
Yesterday, Housing and Dining Services sent an email out to all students regarding another use of troubling behavior in the residence halls in the form of interpersonal conflicts. The university wants to remind all students that taking care of the community, whether it's the living spaces or each other, is a responsibility to abide by, especially as we settle more into the year.
17% of CSU students report using a bike as their main form of transportation to and from campus, meaning there are nearly 500 bikes on campus daily. Unfortunately, this also means CSU is the perfect place to steal a bike from. Bike theft is the most common crimes committed here, with 16 bikes stolen the first week of classes and an average of 190 stolen annually. The biggest reason for these crimes is students not locking their bikes properly or leaving them overnight. CSU PD recommends using a U-lock to secure bikes to one of the 18,000 bike rack spaces available. A U-lock is extremely difficult to cut through and often deters criminals. To help further prevent thefts, you can register your bike with CSU PD at police.colostate.edu/register your bike.
Thad Paul and Catherine Weaver of the Larimer County Children, Youth, and Family Services Division have made headlines recently for an article they wrote in the Child Welfare League of America's Journal of Policy, Practice, and Programs. Their article talked about their work in Colorado using a trauma-informed practice. This places an emphasis on reducing the use of out-of-home placement programs and focusing on what can be done in homes. It is unclear what comes next for trauma-informed practice, but Larimer County community partners will be doing their best to lead the charge.
There's no denying the last school year was a rocky one for many students, and CSU saw a decline in enrollment. However, things appear to be moving in the right direction, upwards. First-year enrollment on campus has climbed back to nearly pre-pandemic levels, with over 5,000 students registered. We have the increase of out-of-state students to thank for that, with them making up 40% of the first-year class. And although I may not be a freshman, I am from out-of-state, so you're welcome.
What state are you from?
I'm from California.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to warn you about winter coming.
Well,
it might be a doozy.
Although I've been here for a few years, I have to admit, I still don't know how to drive in the snow, nor do I own a snow scraper.
Oh, well, best of luck to you. I'm from Colorado, and I still can't drive in the snow.
So wish us both luck.
That works. Don't go anywhere, Rams.
Because Michelle Ellis is up next for your weekly weather report.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job to help feed my little sisters. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. My name's Michelle Ellis, here to give you the weather report for this week. So let's take a look at what Fort Collins is currently looking at. As we can see, it's 70 degrees right now, but those temperatures are expected to cool into the mid-40s this evening. We have some slight winds coming in from the northeast at 7 miles an hour and a very low chance of rain this evening. The sun did set not too long ago. Do you ever wonder why the leaves start changing during this time of year? How we see the greens and the yellows, the oranges and the reds. Well, as we transition to fall, the days are getting shorter, meaning that there's less light on the leaves. This kind of signals to the leaves that that winter is coming and that they need to start producing less chlorophyll. The leaves with lots of chlorophyll are the ones that are green, and as they produce less and less during this season, they start to change to orange, to red, until they fall. But those aren't the only things that are going to fall this evening. As we can see, the temperatures are also going to fall throughout Colorado. As we move down the I-25 corridor, we see that it drops into the mid-40s, high 50s in Denver. And as we go to the eastern side, we're going to see that we're in the mid-40s into low 40s in Lamone. As we move to the mountainside, we're going to see that we're in the mid-40s as well. But down here, it does drop into the high 30s. But those cool temperatures aren't going to stay, because we're going to see that tomorrow it's going to get nice and warm. As we can see, it's going to get into the mid to high 70s, and in Pueblo even hitting 83 degrees. As we go to the eastern side, it starts to warm up even more, with Lamar even getting to 87 degrees. But as we move into the mountainside, it does start to cool down in Vail and Craig, but then it does cool down significantly in Telluride and 50, but then warms up in Alamosa and Grand Junction. And it's still going to be quite warm tomorrow as well. As we can see in Fort Collins, the high is 78 degrees with a low of 50 degrees. We have partly cloudy skies, and there's a pretty low chance of rain at about 11%. There are some slight winds coming in from the northeast at 8 miles an hour, and the sunset will set similarly at 6:33 in the evening. Now let's take a look at what the rest of Fort Collins is going to look like for this week. As we can see, Wednesday through Friday, it's going to be high 70s, and throughout this week, we're going to have low 50s, and then Saturday and Sunday, it's going to cool down even more, with getting down to 72 degrees and Sunday to 69 degrees. Throughout the week, we're going to see it's quite chilly in the evening, but during the day, it's going to be partly cloudy conditions. On Saturday, it's partly cloudy, but there is a slight chance of rain as well. Well, that's all I have for weather for you guys today, but stay tuned because there's more news after this.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
In the wake of the Texas abortion law, hundreds of thousands gathered nationwide in the Women's March to speak out against what is regarded as the strictest abortion ban in the United States.
Chants such as these echoed around the nation in response to the law which was signed into action this September. It prohibits abortions after 6 weeks, and those who aid in one can have a lawsuit filed against them by any private citizen.
As someone from Texas, that is literally horrifying that is becoming a law.
The Women's March organized rallies in over 600 locations. They urged everyone to use their voice and to peacefully take to the streets.
If we don't march and speak up, we give up.
The Fort Collins March took place at 11 in the morning at Library Park. The event drew in an assortment of people, but there was an obvious gratitude towards the young woman in attendance.
This is your future. This is the life you're going to have to live with for the next 50 years.
The rally hosted speakers who covered everything from encouraging people to vote, personal stories, and trying to end the stigma around abortion.
We need to release the shame that's associated with abortions. We need to understand that it is healthcare.
However, not everyone is open to this viewpoint. 40 Days for Life is a religious organization that is committed to ending abortions and prays outside clinics.
We're not here to condemn anybody. We're not here to make anybody afraid. It's just the opposite. We just want to give them other options.
Both groups state they want to remove shame around the topic, but still fall on opposing sides.
The Women's March is determined to continue the rally for abortion justice and has planned a mass call on October 12th to strategize their next steps in the movement. Perhaps we'll continue seeing signs of this across Fort Collins.
Colorado State University Board of Governors met with an expert on student loan debt to discuss the debt crisis and possible solutions. Urban Institute's principal researcher Sandy Baum, who also works as the college affordability and economics professor at Skidmore College, pitched her solutions to these challenges. Those solutions are increasing college affordability and access to loans. According to the Coloradoan, to her, affordability is not only about the price of higher education, but also the value. Loans provided to undergraduate students are significantly lower compared to graduate students. Based on data from the College Board, funds covered through loans was at 65% for graduate students in 2020, compared to undergraduate students sitting just above 30%.
This next story is certainly cause for celebration, maybe by throwing on some boots, a cowboy hat, and heading out to dance. 14 venues in Fort Collins received over $7 million in grant funds to help them stay open amid the pandemic, including the ever-popular Sundance Steakhouse and Saloon. The money came from the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program. Businesses who received the first round of grants this summer can now apply for additional funds, up to 50% of their initial grant.
The countywide staff shortages, has unfortunately reached CSU's own veterinary teaching hospital. This world-renowned animal facility is temporarily decreasing its hours and closing overnight. Assistant Professor of Urgent Care Amanda Cavana says part of the issue is the massive increase in pet adoptions in the community during the pandemic. Since residents were working from home, getting a pet was a popular trend. This event eventually led to an overabundance of new patients at the hospital. The increase in new patients did not correlate with the amount of current staff, which is what led to them making this decision. Kavana said in an interview with CBS Denver that this outcome was ultimately the best decision, so that the vets could still take in new patients but also work on educating aspiring medical students. The hospital will still tend to animals in emergencies, but also asked outside vets to take more patients until they can hire more staff.
Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
But don't go anywhere because Brandon Cruz is up next with an analysis over the MLB Wildcard.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, commitment, drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent like me.
How's it going, Rams? Welcome back to yet another edition of Bleacher Beat. I'm your host, as always, Brandon Cruz. Well, we're already approaching midterms and the halfway point of the semester, which means that homecoming and family weekend are finally here. Like usual, I'll detail all the CSU athletic events for the exciting days ahead. Plus, after 162 games, it comes down to just one for 4 MLB clubs. Get your updates and previews of the MLB Wildcard games here on Bleacher Beat, which starts right now. As usual, we'll lead things off with some CSU athletics. Ram Pride will be at its peak this week as campus prepares itself for homecoming. But before football caps off the festivities on Saturday, Ram fans have plenty of other matchups to look forward to during the week. First up, volleyball continues its 3-game road trip on Thursday evening, heading to Reno, Nevada to face the Wolfpack at 6. From there, they'll travel a little farther west down I-80 on Saturday to battle San Jose State at 2. And unlike volleyball, soccer actually returns home this week, hosting Colorado College on Friday afternoon at 3. This brief halt in Mountain West play ends right there, though, as the Rams pivot for a visit from in-state rival Air Force on Sunday. And of course, how could I forget about the main events of the week? Saturday afternoon at 1:30, when students, alumni, and Ram fans alike will pack into Canvas Stadium to watch CSU football also take on the Trojans of San Jose State. For the sake of homecoming, let's hope this start to conference play ends comfortably for the Rams. All right. If I haven't already gotten you excited enough for athletics in the coming days, let me try again. Postseason baseball is finally here, and the 2 MLB Wildcard games contain some of the biggest brands in American sports. The marketing department over at ESPN had to be jumping for joy when it was announced that arch rivals, the New York Yankees, and Boston Red Sox would play in the AL Wildcard game. And actually, that one's going on right now. Here's a quick score update from Fenway. The Red Sox are currently up 3-0 over the Yankees. Bogarts hit a 2-run homer in the top of the 3rd inning. Also, Kyle Schwarber homered. Nathan Eovaldi pitching very well, but Garrett Cole having some struggles. Looks very good for the Red Sox. And now let's head across the diamond for a more detailed look at the NL Wildcard game featuring the Los Angeles Dodgers and St. Louis Cardinals. LA will host, and understandably so. The Dodgers had an absolute dominant season, winning well over 100 games, but even with all that, they find themselves in a playoff play-in against a Cardinals team that has been on fire as of late. St. Louis posted a 22-7 record in September, which included a 17-game winning streak. Cards first baseman Paul Goldschmidt was a major reason for that September surge. The six-time All-Star batted .340 with a 1,141 OPS, while also scoring 29 runs, blasting 9 home runs, and driving in 19, all of which catapulted the Cardinals to yet another postseason berth. But in these one-and-done wildcard games, hitting can be erased facing quality arms on the mound. And both managers leave pitching duties to solid veteran hurlers, with the highly decorated Max Scherzer getting the starting nod for the Dodgers. This 37-year-old has had a Cy Young caliber season. In action with both Washington and LA, Scherzer was 15-4 with a 2.46 ERA and had 232 strikeouts in 179 innings pitched. Scherzer has been nasty, and it's been that way for a long time, so baseball fans should not be surprised to see him in the NL Cy Young race once again. And on top of that, Scherzer has been even better against St. Louis. In 2 starts against the Redbirds, Scherzer has 14 innings pitched with 22 strikeouts and 0 earned runs. Although that might be discouraging for Cardinals fans, Cards manager Mike Schilt has an ace of his own. For some reason, it just seems Madden Wainwright refuses to enter retirement, showing no signs of slowing down by posting a 17-7 record with a 3.05 ERA across the season. Now, with this, Waino is a contact pitcher, mainly relying on 2 types of pitches. First, he throws that sinking fastball just over 28% of the time, hitters only hitting a $175 against, and he also relies on that big sweeping curveball, which he throws most often at 34.1%, hitters only hitting .209. He's hard to get under and barrel up, giving up only .92 home runs per 9 innings he pitches, which is critical given that the Dodgers are a power hitting squad. Now, he does have a cutter, but that curveball is his go-to. I mean, look at this pitch he throws Contreras. That ball breaks like 13 inches. Contreras has no shot. And when balls are put in play, no problem. The Cardinals have one of the best defenses in baseball, Tommy Edman with a brilliant diving stop there. Now, with all this said, St. Louis fans should be confident in both the field, but hitting needs to step up. And when they need it most, I actually think it will. Sorry, Madeline, I respect your picks, but you're wrong. Expect the top of the order in Tommy Edman to get on base early with Goldschmidt, Tyler O'Neill, and Rockies fan favorite Nolan Arenado following suit with clutch knocks to knock out Max Scherzer early. In this one, Wainwright will do enough to send St. Louis to the NL Divisional round to face off against the best team in baseball, the San Francisco Giants. Well, Ram fans, that's all the sports action I have for you tonight. Be sure to catch Cam's Corner on Thursday for more sporting news. But don't go away just yet. Noah Pasley will conclude tonight's show by giving you all the spice in entertainment.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Hello, Fort Collins. I hope everyone is having an amazing start to the new week, and thank you for tuning in to Entertainment. Once again, I'm your host, Noah Pasley. Is your personal paradise a parade of little paws? Then I sure hope you found your way down to Civic Center Park last Saturday for the 7th annual Tour de Corgi. The annual event, which began as a happy accident when a Facebook event for a Corgi meetup went public, was once again on display in Fort Collins after the event took to online last year amid the pandemic. The famous Mutt meetup brought out hundreds to enjoy the parade, and many took to showing off their own Corgi costumes.
It was really exciting to have it in person because people really enjoy it, and you don't get that same satisfaction and happiness when it's online, you know, and people want to see the dogs, people want to pet the dogs, and people, you know, want to get together.
While the event is loads of fun for any dog lover and pet owner, the Tour de Corgi is also a force for good, helping raise money for local organizations like Wyoming Dachshund and Corgi Rescue, Colorado Corgi Rescue, and the Four Paws Pet Pantry.
And with these guys partnering up with these guys, the Tour de Corgi has just been huge for us. Truly, truly blessed and appreciated that these guys decided that they wanted to take us on as one of the benefactors of the stuff that they're doing. So it's great.
And speaking of forces for good, you may have seen this social justice mural crop up on the CSU campus last week. The social justice mural, which debuted last Thursday inside of the Visual Arts building, is the result of a collaboration between the Center for Women's Studies and Gender Research, the Alliance Partnership, the College of Liberal Arts, and more. The mural, titled Holding Space, was homed on campus thanks to the Engaged Art Walk Initiative, an arts-based community building project. Also leading off the new month, of course, is a host of fall and Halloween celebrations. And what better way to get into the holiday spirit than by visiting this local pumpkin patch? Spooky's Pumpkin Patch, located off of Drake and College Avenue, is back in business for the 2021 fall season. The pumpkin patch, which also offers decorative gourds, corn stalks, and even hay bales for purchase, is run by Timber Rock Landscape Center and has been in the Fort Collins community since 1998. The Landscape Center also hosts a Christmas tree lot in the same location come winter.
I like it a lot. I've always been into plants and the environment, so it's really cool that these pumpkins are local. They're just from Greeley. So I'm lucky that I got to do this year. And then with the trees, it's just neat to see all the different people come in, and we get to meet a lot of new faces, which is really cool.
But if that still isn't enough pumpkin for your fall fill, the Bartles Farm here in Foco will also be hosting their own fall festival this coming Friday on October 8th. The festival, which will start at 3 in the afternoon, is complete with hay rides, a corn maze, and attendees can even take home their very own pumpkin. The Bartles Farm is a family-owned and operated farm established in 1905, and their annual pumpkin patch has been going since 2000, when owner Doug Bartels found himself full up with pumpkins one season. Well, Fort Collins, that's all I've got for you this week, but be sure to tune in tomorrow for the second episode of our very own CTV Geeks. Take care and have a great rest of your week, Fort Collins.